guys and the girls are sitting separately. This always happens in the engineering college. How many of you boys in the friend zone here? Yeah? The new thing is the brother zone, right? Has anyone got into that yet? The only problem I've had in this so far is that the security guards keep asking me for my ID card. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to give them. I actually gave him my driver's license and he kept saying that I need your ID card. So it's good. I'm actually very terrified of engineering colleges, considering I spent 4 years there and I was shit scared. So I get very nervous when I come to an engineering college because it takes me back to all the problems that I faced when I was in the college. So I think I'm going to give a talk that most of you must have seen on YouTube, but the talk is going to be more in-depth and it will be more deeper from what I've said. How many of you guys have actually seen the video on YouTube? Okay, so like 50%, so that's not bad. So the other 50% hasn't seen it. Alright, so I'm going to get started. How many of you have been taught this word by your teachers, or your parents, or your friends, or your family? A lot of you? Yeah. So when I was in everyone around me is always doing this one word, right? Think. Every time before you do anything, think. But I soon realized that this one word is actually causing me more harm than anything else. And then I came across these two words. So I'm going to tell you how these two words will actually probably help you do what you want. Are there any faculty sitting here? Thank you. Oh, I would actually recommend you don't sit in for this session because you wouldn't be very happy with what I'm going to say next. Right. So when I was in school, I used to think before I would raise my hand to ask the teacher the question. I would think before, answering the questions in my own words. I would think before doing anything out of the box. And all of that thinking got me in a lot of trouble because I didn't end up doing anything at all. But then, in the 12th standard, I became extremely fascinated by the concept of filmmaking. The fact that you can take a small little handycam and show the rest of the world what's inside your head, I thought that's a very, very powerful medium. I mean, just imagine taking just like a camera phone, or taking a handycam, or taking your own phone, and shooting something that is inside your head, and the rest of the world can see it. So I thought that's a very, very powerful medium. So I used to make a lot of short films with my handycam, with my mom, my dog, my cat, who was willing to act in them, and I used to show them on DVD to whoever was willing to watch them. So at the end of 12th standard, I went up to my mom and her best friend Anu Aunty. So Anu Aunty is that character who's always wondering what you're up to, right? She's always smoking information about how much did you score, which college are you going to, what's your future plan, and she keeps comparing it to her son about, right? So Anu Aunty is that character. So I went up to my mom and her best friend Anu Aunty and I told them I want to be a filmmaker. And obviously they weren't very impressed because obviously in India if you want to be anything other than an engineer you're considered a terrorist, right? So I told them I want to be a filmmaker and they're like, what? Filmmaking? Is that even a profession? Are you mad? You can either be a carpenter or a plumber than being a filmmaker. More importantly, they made me do this. Maybe I won't be a successful filmmaker. Maybe I won't make enough money. Maybe I won't get any dowry. Or maybe all my friends will get a job at Infosys. Right? This one word got me into a lot of trouble because it got me into this. Now not that I have anything against engineering, but I hated it. Every second, every minute, every moment, I just hated engineering. Because I had no clue what I was doing. Right? I got into engineering and I suddenly started reading subjects that I had no information about and I didn't know what I was doing. There was a subject called network analysis in which I failed 4 times. I was practically lost in engineering. But for the first time, something happened in engineering which has never happened in my life before. For the first time in my life, I failed. Now up until then I was an above average student, I had never failed. But for the first time in engineering, I failed. What happens is, in India, if you fail, right, you're usually shut inside the room when your parents, friends, or relatives come, because you don't want your parents to get their son out and say, "My son is a failure," right? So I was shunned from society, and there's this little last section in every class called the last bench. So I was stuck to the last bench by my teachers because they thought I was good for nothing. And that's when I realized that one moment of failure is actually turning out to be my biggest moment of success. Because now, I didn't have to prove anything to anyone anymore, except myself. Till now, I had to prove a lot of things to a lot of people, which I didn't want to prove. But now, I don't have to do that. The only person that I had to prove something was my own self. So I picked up, so that one moment of failure made me do this. I decided I'm going to stop thinking so much. So I picked up my Handycam again and I started shooting all my short films. And then in 2006, this little invention comes along. I'm just surfing the web, and there's a website which has this one big upload button, which you click and you can upload your videos and the rest of the world can see it. Obviously that invention is now called YouTube.com, which a lot of you boys are using for a lot of other purposes. But I like how all the boys are suddenly like feeling very I didn't expect claps for that. And I like how all the girls are just silent at this moment, they're not saying anything. So yeah, so I started uploading all my short films on YouTube, and people started seeing that. So here I was going to college, being shouted at by my teacher, and my HOD kept telling me good for nothing, and then I would come back home and I would switch on my computer, and then suddenly I'd see some mail from someone in Argentina who had seen my video. And he said, hey man, I saw your film and I think it's great. And I thought that was like really great motivation. Really great motivation. So I started making even more short films and I started uploading them on YouTube. And then this few companies saw the video and said, you know what, we want you to make professional videos for us and we pay you for it. And I was like, wow, that's really, really cool. So in the first year of college, I started my first company, Last Minute Films, because in engineering, everything happens at the last minute, right? But you know what's the best part? When you actually pass out of engineering, you realize everything in life also happens at the last minute. If you are capable of studying at the very last minute and managing to ace your exams, I think you'll be pretty successful in life. Because when you get down to real life, and I tell you why. Because when you get to the real life, you do not have time for preparation. You do not get any time. You got to think on your feet. Everything is on the spur of the moment. There are deadlines, there is pressure, and all of that. So if you can handle the kind of pressure by doing stuff at the last minute, because that's what you really face in real life. Trust me on that. So I started this company and I started getting professional work. And then in 2007 there was this rock band called Pentagram, and they asked me to make a music video for one of their songs, with the only criteria being that it will be uploaded on YouTube. So I was like, yeah, that sounds really cool. So we made the music video and we uploaded it on YouTube.com. And the videos ended up getting 100,000 views. And then this production company in Bombay saw the video, and they flew me down to Bombay in the third year of my engineering, and they offered me a job to direct. Not to be an assistant, not to be an intern, not to be a gopher, but a job to direct. And I was like, wow, this is it, man. This is what I really wanted to do. I mean, like my entire life just being handed over to me. So I called up my mom and my best friend, Anuwan, who always happens to be around, and I told them, like, you know what, I just got this offer, and I think I'm going to drop out and just take this up. And obviously they weren't very impressed. Me, Bombay, 20 years old, trying to drop out of engineering, nothing fit, right? I mean, how many of you can just walk up to your parents and say, I want to drop out of engineering? So yeah, the same thing happened to me. They were like, what's wrong with you? You're not dropping out of engineering, you're definitely going to complete it. And the sad part was that I had to finish one long, torturous year of engineering. Imagine that. Like one long, torturous year, especially that final year, where every day seemed like an entire year. But the moment I finished my engineering, I decided that from now on, this is what I'm going to do, right? So I finished my engineering, I took a one-way bus ticket to Bombay, I landed up there, and I asked the production company if they still had that job for me. Surprisingly, they said, yeah, you know, we still have the job for you. And I was really lucky that they did. So here I was after studying 4 years of telecommunication engineering, being hired as a professional filmmaker. And for my first assignment, they sent me to Chennai to direct this gentleman. So here I was in Chennai, actually in Mr. Rahman's studio, and I was shit scared. And that's when I realized I should have paid attention to the Viva exams. Right? Those Viva exams really mattered a lot. Not because you need to know the right answers, but if you can tell complete bullshit, but with complete confidence, that the guy who's actually taking the exams has no clue what he's saying, but says that, you know what, I think this kid knows something. Trust trust me, man, take those Viva exams seriously. Those are the very elements of building confidence. I just realized that Viva exams is the very essence of how you can build confidence and give complete bullshit. Because if you ever get into marketing or consulting, your life is only going to be about bullshit. Nothing else. It's true. I mean, all these guys get into McKinsey and KPMG, what do you think they do? They just bullshit their way, right? And you go to any, and the funny thing is that if you actually go and tell them this, they say, yeah, that's exactly what we do. So even if you do not know your answer in the Viva exams, say something so substantial, and say something so concrete, and say something so profound that the guy who's taking the exam is like, man, that's impressive, right? So yeah, sadly I didn't do that. So I was really tongue-tied, I was really scared, I didn't know half the things that I was saying. Some of the shoot went off really well, but at the end of the shoot, all Mr. Rahman told me was, one of life is very, very short. Always do what you love, and always do what you believe in. I kept those lines for the rest of my life. A couple of months later, I was directing a music video for Shankar Ehsaan Loy, and the star of the video was an erstwhile Bollywood star, Preeti Zinta, and she refused to believe I was the director. As you can see from my expression, she looks really pissed off because she has no clue what I'm saying. Because she kept thinking that we're trying to play an MTV background. Yeah, because I was 20 years old and I looked 15. So she didn't believe I was the director. So the story when the camera I was working for, he came and told me, you know what, there's this music video and you're supposed to direct Preeti Zinta. And I was like, yes, Preeti Zinta, finally something. I mean, Rahman's great, but he needs an actor, right? Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna kill this. I'm gonna like murder this video. I'm gonna do it so well that she at the end of the video she'll say marry me. So I've spoken on the phone before the shoot a few times, and then on the day of the shoot she shows up. So everyone around me says, you know what, she's come, you should probably go and meet her. So I walk up into a trailer van and I explain the entire script to her and tell her exactly what the whole thing is about. And then she hears the whole thing for like 20 minutes, and then she just stares at me and says, all this is fine, but who's the director? And I didn't have any comeback. Like, how can you ever come back to that? And I kept looking back and there was somebody else behind me. But sadly, I was only me in the room. And then I'd call my producer, my cinematographer, and everybody else to tell them that, you know what, this kid, yeah, he is the director. But the most interesting thing about the shoot was, up until now I was like, you know, doing things on my own, like I didn't have much of a crew. But here I was directing a movie star with a crew of 40 people, 20 kids, and I was supposed to be directing all of them. And no textbook or no college degree or no education can teach you how to handle a situation like this. Because this is a real life situation. Again, this is a situation where if you can get your drunk friend home at 3 in the morning without his mom coming to know, then probably you can handle something like this. But again, the important thing here is confidence, right? So I soon realized that if I can just stand in the middle and scream a whole lot of bullshit without anyone trying to find out what I'm saying, everybody will listen to me, right? Like how you guys are doing now. So that's exactly what I did. I just stood there and I screamed and I just murmured something and everyone's like, yeah, he knows something, let's just listen to what he's saying. So after I finished the shoot, I wanted to go back to Bangalore and do something on my own because I thought that the real future lay in digital, right? Because how many of you actually watch television anymore? Hardly any of you, right? Everybody's watching everything on YouTube now. You watch content when you want and how you want. So I really wanted to move to the digital space. So I moved back to Bangalore and that's when accidentally the second part of my journey started, and that was being an entrepreneur. And it started in a bar. So I like how there's sudden silence. So I believe all great business ideas are born when you're drunk. That's because when you're drunk you have no inhibitions. Now I'm not saying that you should go and get drunk. I'm not saying that, okay? So if any of you guys go and get drunk after this talk and blame me, I'm not responsible. There's a clear disclaimer that I'm not telling you guys to get drunk. This is just what I did. So me and my friends, we were getting drunk. And the unique thing about when you get drunk is that you suddenly feel like you're a 4-year-old kid again. You remember when you were 4 years old and you make that paper plane and you throw it and you actually think that it's going to fly and keep on flying, right? That magical moment where you thought that you can actually make a plane fly, it took me back to that. So me and my friends were getting drunk and we started remembering the school. So we passed out of a school called Bishop College and we were called Petonians. So we thought that we should get Petonian sweatshirts again for ourselves. right? So that we had an identity to remember us by. But we were drunk, right? So anything is possible. So we said, why not this for every school and college in the country? So here, there were two drunk kids sitting in a bar. We were 22 then. And we came up with the business idea that we should make merchandise for every school and college in this country. Now, the thing is, usually these ideas die out the next day with a hangover, right? The next day when a hangover happens, then everybody forgets the idea and we just go back to what we're doing. But we were really adamant in doing this because we really loved our school a lot. Now, this is what we're not going to do, right? We're not going to go to enter this room moment number one because we know what's going to happen there. But the problem was, we didn't know anything about running a business. Where do they make t-shirts? What do you know about e-commerce? Where do you get your money from? Where do you do your printing? Absolutely nothing. We had no clue about running a business, or we had no clue about anything actually. Now, this is what you're supposed to do, right? But 4 years of engineering, and they didn't teach me Microsoft Excel. So how am I supposed to come up with any sort of numbers, or projections, or charts, or any of that, right? Now, this is what most people would do, but I've already told you how much trouble this one word has got us into. So this is what we decided to do. So we found a manufacturer friend in Tribute. He decided to make some samples for us. We took permission from Bishop Gordon to come to the Alumni Day. So we came to the Alumni Day, we set up a stall, and we came with the Cottonian merchandise. The first 15 minutes, nobody showed up. And then this one Cottonian guy came and said, is this for sale? And then he got 10 of his other friends, and they got 10 of their other friends. And suddenly everyone started ready to get that one. So in the first day itself, we ended up selling 2,500 hoodies. So that's when we knew that yes, okay, we have something in our hands. You know, the business is finally taking shape. We may not know how to run a business, we may not know anything about entrepreneurship, but at least we're taking the baby steps to get into that. The best part was, when all these Cottonian kids started wearing their hoodies, the students from other schools got insecure, right? Because they started wondering where do they get theirs from, right? And That is actually Frank Anthony Public School, and it's actually called Taras. Again, I love how the girls are extremely silent in this world. Extremely. Okay. I don't know if I put that intentionally there. So yeah, the students from other schools got insecure, and they started wondering, you know, where do you get this from? So then we knew that we had, you know, we knew that we could reach out to more students. But then the question was,